And we are back. You see that? The magic of TV.
Yeah.
And then there were two. I don't know if we've ever done this with two people, by the way.
No, never. I don't think so. Right?
This is a big deal, Danny. Let me just add to something that we talked about on the MMA Beat. I was talking about the ratings and the viewership for the King Mo Ryan Bader fight on Saturday, Bellator 199. We didn't talk a lot about the actual fight, but I did want to add that I just got this from our friends over at the Paramount Network. The main event for Bellator 199 featuring King Mo and Ryan Bader delivered 1.2 million viewers. It was also the peak minute. The overall telecast drew 689,000 viewers. So that is a little higher than we thought. Although I do believe that they include CMT in this. So that's the country music television channel. So I'd love to know what it is just for Paramount. But a little better than the 400 or so that I was talking about. All right. Let's answer some questions. You sent us some, so let's get right to it. Here we go. Question number one. If you could have two fighters in an odd couple-like sitcom, who would you pick and why? I'll go first since I read the question already. John Dotson and Andrei Arlovsky have had a great relationship over the years. They're very fun. They like to play off the fact that they both have, you know, one guy's very tall, one guy's very short. They have some kind of odd couple-like relationship. So that's the one that came to mind for me.
There's actually, I feel like MMA has a lot of great options. One option that I feel like is very underrated, since, you know, going through like MMA journalism, when I started was basically covering the local circuit in South Florida. So I got to meet and interview and talk to a lot of ATT guys. One of the best duos is Brad Pickett and Matt Brown. Yeah. Those two, because Brad Pitt is a jokester. He likes to pull pranks on people, and you know Matt Brown is Mike Brown. I'm so sorry.
Mike Brown. I was wondering. Okay.
Mike Brown is very calm and he's very chill, and those two just have a really fun dynamic. Another one probably I'd like to throw out there is King Mo and Rampage Jackson. On their build-up when they fought, they were kidding. They had that Walmart story, and they were going back and forth, and they kind of just crack on each other, and you know they have a pretty good dynamic as well.
I'll throw out Justin Willis and Daniel Cormier seem to have a love-hate relationship. Yeah. Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington, just because I don't see where the common bond lies. But yes, you're right. Because there are these big teams and there's all kinds of characters, there's a lot of good options. I've maintained that Fight Pass should do a show like that, but they haven't taken us up on our idea just yet. Okay, let's move along to the next one. How many pay-per-views will UFC 226 sell? Over, under 600K. And that, of course, is DC versus Stipe.
I feel like the fight itself is what's pushing, you know, the promotion behind this. You know, there's no beef between them. They've made it clear. I haven't watched Tough, but I assume there's not much contention there. But I don't know. That's an interesting one. It is a super fight.
600 seems like a lot.
600 does seem like a lot, especially in this day and age. I'm gonna go with. I think it does 400.
Yeah, I was gonna say 400. I was gonna say 400. There is Brian Ortega versus Max Holloway. Yeah. There's Ngannou versus Derek Lewis, but 600 is a lot.
Yeah, 600 is a lot.
It really is, especially with no conflict. And as much as people want to say, no conflict,
that's what fuels promotion. Yeah.
Of course, that gets you to the 800, 900 territory. So yeah, I agree with 400, which is not a bad thing in this day and age. They wish they can get a consistent 400. So I wouldn't say that that's a defeat by any stretch. Okay, let's move along to our next one. Who will Khabib fight in Moscow? So the reason I picked this one is because I don't think Khabib will fight in Moscow.
It's a fight night, right?
Yeah, it's a fight night.
Yeah, good luck trying to put your champion in a fight night.
That's right. Yeah. And also, you want to sell tickets.
Right.
What I'm hearing is the front runner right now, if they can get the Conor fight done, is Las Vegas. As far as the site is concerned, there's just so much that you can.
That's an international fight. That's where you.
Well, I would say Vegas or New York.
Yeah. I mean, two international cities.
Yeah. But the other thing is, like, you probably can't make as much money if you put it in Moscow. The time difference is a problem. You don't want a fight of that magnitude happening at 1 p.m. here in the United States. So, to me, you're capitalizing obviously on the rise of Russian MMA. There's an influx of great young fighters. Let's go to the next question here because it is related, I do believe. And yes, it is. So we'll include this in our discussion. Is the Beat ready to headline UFC Moscow in terms of marketability? If so, who is most intriguing opponent for him? I do believe that makes the most sense.
Yeah,
Go with a guy like Khabib, give him the push, give him the limelight, give him the spotlight. You also have guys like Alexander Volkov who seem to be on the cusp of being in that discussion. They have options for fight nights, but Khabib on that card, to me, is a long shot at best.
Yeah. I mean, the UFC right now is in an era where like they're trying to get the biggest fights possible on pay-per-view, right? Because they're a pay-per-view business. You can't put Khabib, the biggest star, in a free fight night. You just can't do that. I think Zabit's ready to headline that. I mean, we just talked about Yair Rodriguez. He headlined 2 cards.
That's right.
Brandon Moreno headlined a card in Mexico City. I mean, this is tailor-made for him, you know? This is a big prospect that they're trying to push. And although he's very quiet, there's a charm to him. I feel like people...
He's different than Khabib. He doesn't talk smack, but he's unassuming, and then he gets in the cage, and he's like Anthony Pettis, you know, times 10.
And the hair.
The hair is great. Everything's great. The part that I can't quite figure out is against who.
I mean, it doesn't matter, right? It's like...
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but let's see.
In Liverpool. But I'm sure they would... The thing about Zabit is that he's so good that they can actually give him kind of tough fights. They don't have to give him some guy tune-up fight, and he can actually do well, and he'll probably succeed. You know, he's a very complete fighter. Say like Yair Rodriguez, also a very talented guy, but maybe not as complete as Zabit.
So right now he's ranked 12th.
Okay.
And I don't like to put stock in the UFC rankings, but it just is an easy way to look at, you know.
I mean, it gives you a picture of who's available,
right?
Guy,
Calvin Kattar is 15th. Duho Choi is 14th. I wouldn't recommend that.
No.
Miles Jury is fighting Chad Mendez. Mirsad Bektik is 11. He has a fight. Could turn around, I suppose. And then we're getting into some tough guys like Darren Elkins, Renato Moicano, Chan Sung Jung, who I don't think will be ready. Ricardo Lamas might be a little too soon.
I think so. Yeah.
And then you've got Josh Emmett, who's still recovering, Cub Swanson, Jeremy Stevens. So I'm curious, do they go with someone outside of the top 15 or not? To me, the smart play is, above all, as you said with Darren Till, put that guy in the main event. That is a guy that you want to build. That is a guy who has it, right? He's got that star potential. Put obviously a Volkov and a bunch of these other guys, the Makhachevs of the world, you know? And I mean, you could honestly do a Russia versus the world card.
Yeah, those are fun, man.
Those are fun.
Like, Combate recently did a Mexico versus the U.S. Those are fun. I remember one of my favorite seasons from The Ultimate Fighter was UK versus the U.S. And I like when they make these type of...
The first one or the second one?
Bisping Hendo?
Yeah, that was back in the day. Because there was a UK versus... No, it was Europe versus USA, which was Faber, Conor, which no one watched. But one of my favorite pay-per-views was UFC 58, Canada versus USA. GSP, BJ Penn won, David Loiseau against Rich Franklin. So yes, I do like that stuff. That's from time to time. So I would bill it as Russia versus the world. Let's see.
But the answer is anybody, really.
All right, let's move along. Next one. What does the disclosed purse of $70K for Aaron Pico do for a majority of the underpaid UFC roster? Does this add more legitimacy to a consideration in changing promotions? So it was disclosed that Aaron Pico made 35 and 35 for his fight. Ryan Bader made a good amount. What I would say about this is, don't put too much stock into those figures that are released, because certainly at the top of the card, for a lot of like the top 2 or 3 fights and the fighters involved in those fights, the numbers aren't real. They'll put out a certain amount, and then they're getting way more for the most part, because A, they don't want, you know, the fellow fighters to know and to use it as leverage and say, wait a second, why is that guy who's ranked, you know, 4th and I'm ranked 2nd, but he's obviously more popular than I am, why is he make? So I wouldn't put too much stock into that. And then as far as Pico goes, like, they've been in the Pico business for quite some time. He's been on their payroll since dating back to his debut. You know, he's been on there for 2 years. And of course, his management is very close with Scott Coker. He's he's managed by Zinkin. That has funneled so many great fighters to Coker, Daniel Cormier, Luke Rockhold. Pico's another one, Ed Ruth. So those are all factors. I don't know if you could put too much stock into it. The kid's getting paid, and in my opinion, he's worth it, because I talk to a lot of people who aren't big, quote-unquote, Bellator fans, and they say, but I like to watch Aaron Pico. They know who he is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a guy that's one of the brightest prospects right now in MMA. And Bellator, something that they're good at is building these guys up into stars. I mean, we got guys like Dylan Dennis, for example. I agree with you in the sense that fighters shouldn't really look at that as a waypoint. Like, whoa, Aaron Pico is only, 2-1 now? 3-1.
3-1.
3-1. Well, I have a record, I don't know, 13-2. I can make more money. But I think what it can open the eyes and is, okay, do I have something to offer to Bellator? Like, say if my contract is up, do I have something to offer to get me the treatment that Pico's getting and other guys are getting? A great example was Lorenz Larkin. He felt underappreciated in the UFC. He felt like he could offer more at Bellator. He's like, the UFC doesn't promote me, and I feel like, I could get a little bit of a push. And Bellator was like, okay, you got a certain skill set, certain legitimacy that you bring to our division. You bring us something, we're ready to push you in and perhaps give you that pay. So I think it does open the eyes in the sense of, what can I bring to this promotion, or what can I do different? For example, let's say Sean O'Malley, right? Let's say for some reason his contract is up. Huge personality. Don't you think that's like the type of guy Bellator would want to pick up? Obviously, I don't think the UFC is going to let him go, but he's got a persona. He's got certain characteristics that he can bring to Bellator and gets his money as well.
I long for a day where all the purses were disclosed, like the full amount. So now fighters can truly know how much you're making, like in every other sport. Yeah. In every other sport, you know what your peers are making, so that you can.
In fact, it's like celebrated, like, oh, this contract was signed, the biggest contract in soccer.
But then you can then negotiate properly. You can compare skills and your worth to your club, and that's just how it's done. But here it's just so backroom stuff, discretionary, this and that. It makes it very hard. So if I'm a fighter, I want my numbers out. I want my fellow fighters' numbers out, because then I can truly know what I'm worth.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, let's move along. Next one up. Will any of you be seeing Deadpool 2 this weekend? If so, how excited are you for the film? Have you seen the first Deadpool film in general? Yeah, in general. Have you seen it?
No. As I said, I'm not huge into superhero movies for some reason. That's probably a good question.
I don't even know what Deadpool is.
Deadpool is, I think he's like, from what I know, he's like a very polarizing superhero. I don't even know if he categorizes as a superhero. But yeah, I mean, he's very comical and he's got a very sarcastic.
Who plays him? Do you know?
Geez, I forgot this guy's name.
Ryan Reynolds, I'm told.
Ryan Reynolds, yes.
Joe, have you seen Deadpool? No, Joe's on our team when it comes to these films. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, a good Canadian boy, by the way. But yeah, I've not seen it. I don't even know if I've heard of it, and I just found out that there's a sequel. So we won't be going. When's the last time you saw a movie in theaters?
I saw Isle of Dogs, maybe like.
Oh, Isle of Dogs?
Yeah.
Is it called Isle of Dogs?
Yeah. Maybe like.
Was that good?
A month ago, maybe.
Are you a frequent movie theater goer?
If something catches my eye, yeah.
But like how, like in a calendar year, how many times you go?
It depends. I have streaks where there's a few movies that are coming out that I'm like, yo, I need to watch. So maybe I'll go a couple of times, 3 times in a month, or maybe I can go like 2 months without, 3 months without.
You going more than 6 times a year?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
What do you buy when you go? Like, what do you like to eat? Are you one of those guys with the nachos? Or are you traditional with the?
No. I've tried the nachos. I'm a classic guy, so I just stick to the popcorn. Maybe.
You always get popcorn?
For the most part, yeah. I'll get popcorn, put some salt in it, a little bit of butter.
Soft drink?
Soft drink, or I get a slushie.
Wow. Yeah. Slushie and
cherry or Coke? Yeah, for sure. I go big.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you're going to the movies, you're gonna sit down, you're gonna for a couple hours.
Yeah. Do you like those reclining seats?
I love them.
You do?
Oh yeah. There's a huge difference, and they are a little bit more expensive. There's like a movie theater in South Florida that I go to. It's tiny, and they have, because those seats take up so much space. They're very comfortable. But man, it's like watching a movie in your living room. It just makes the experience so much better, and you got a giant screen. I'd pay a couple extra bucks for that treatment.
I can't recall the last time I went to a movie like for my own viewing pleasure. I've gone a few times with my kids, less than 5 times. I don't particularly enjoy it.
What's the last movie you saw?
Coco?
Okay, I didn't see that.
You know that one, right?
Yeah, of course.
We actually left in the middle.
Oh, man. I heard that was actually a good movie.
Yeah, it was good, but it was way too long. Like, I can't... First of all, you're giving me a 30-minute pre-movie. You're giving me a sequel to Frozen.
Those are also sick, though.
Yeah, okay, but my kids were good after that. We were done. And then
that was your movie.
Totally, they were good. They were happy. We got the surprise. Olaf is there. The snowman. He's back. Great. And now I have to sit through a whole other 2-hour movie. The animation was great, but we had enough, so we left. Yeah, it's better at home with the kids.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along to the next question. If you had to create another division in the UFC, which would it be and why?
Jeez.
I'll go 165. I'll go 155, 165, 175. So I'm kind of creating 1.5, and then 185, and then 205. I don't know if there's enough for 195.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, if you look at the middleweight division right now, it's not too deep. And if you look at the light heavyweight division, it's pretty bad. So you're actually be draining both.
But 165, I think.
165 is very interesting because there's tons of guys that I feel like those are like that's their ideal weight. Diego Sanchez has talked about it for years about like 155 is just a little bit too much for me. And
Eddie Alvarez, Masvidal, Kevin Lee.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it would also create kind of like a boxing-esque situation where you have constantly just dual champions. Why wouldn't the 155 champion fight at 165? And if you're a small champion at 170, why wouldn't you want that?
But here's the thing, though. Now you're tying up a division. To me, you're opening something up because you need more headliners. You need more belts.
You have more champions to put in more pay-per-views, but it also sets itself up for what? What are we looking in this age? Big fights, right?
Sure.
Let's say if Kevin Lee went up, there was a division.
Just because you have a belt, though, doesn't make. You just said 400,000 for DC Stipe. So
sure.
It doesn't
I mean,
equal.
but it's still a big fight in the sense of, for the hardcores, for the health of the sport, it's a good fight,
I just like the idea of having, because I think there's 150 to 170, there's just too much of a gap.
Yeah, there is.
I mean, you got 125, 135, 145, 155. Like, why stop? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's from the old days of MMA when there were just 5 divisions. So go 155, 165, and then move Tyron Woodley up, and you're good. I don't think he would mind.
I mean,
I don't think anyone at 170 would mind. No, I mean, if we're doing it today, you know what I mean? So that, to me, I mean, that's the one that you really hear a lot of fighters campaigning for. You don't really hear fighters campaigning for anything else these days. No one really is campaigning for like a 7-pound weight difference like they have in boxing a lot of times,
And also, like in the lower weight classes, and this is just common knowledge. It's harder to cut that weight. You know what I'm saying? Like
sure.
Like from straw weight to flyweight. That weight difference is big. But then once you get to light heavyweight to middleweight, then maybe although it's like maybe the same amount of pounds, it's not as significant because you're bigger. You're allowed to. It's easier to cut weight once you have more mass on you. And 155, I still feel like that's still a pretty small weight class, Comparing to 170, there's a pretty big difference. Yeah.
Huge difference. All right, 165. Let's see it happen. Okay, let's move along to the next one. What else do we have? Is Nick Diaz coming back? JK.
Okay, well, there's our weekly Nick Diaz question.
There it is. Is he coming back?
I hope so.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Would be nice.
We miss the Diaz brothers.
Could use him.
Yeah, for sure.
He kind of reared his head last week. Nate was like, GSP cheated, and then he was like, something to the effect of whoever is bringing up this fight as an option is going to get slapped. So maybe that will get the juices flowing. Maybe that will get the itch.
Hopefully. I mean, this is a guy that's very skilled. How old is Nick? 30. He's definitely in early 30s.
Mid-30s.
Mid-30s at this point?
Yeah.
If he wants to make a comeback, it'd probably have to be now. And there's so many opponents out there. Just imagine if they bring back Nick Diaz, right?
Yeah.
Or he comes back.
Yeah.
And the UFC signs Paul Daly, which is something we didn't get to. That'd be a fantastic fight. I mean, their first fight was amazing. There's so many fights that you can just plug in Nate Diaz. Like, you can literally just go down the top 15 and every fight would be amazing.
I'm looking up his age right now.
Or say 33 or 34.
I'm going to say a little older. 34.
Yep.
Turning 35 in August 2nd. Still a youngster.
Young guy, yeah.
I mean, Randy Couture was just starting.
Chuck Liddell was about to hit a second leg in his
14
career.
years older than him. But yeah, there you have it. Our weekly check-in with Nick Diaz, who actually did make headlines last week, so that is rare. I thought it would be appropriate to bring that one up. Okay, just a couple left here. What else do we have? Danny, this question is for you. Can I leave a question for the MMA Beat tomorrow? Yes, you can. Is the 2018 World Cup the most important sporting event happening this year? And who wins? Would love to hear your thoughts from you and the guys. Thanks, buddy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that question.
From, Andreas?
Andreas, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the World Cup is the biggest event ever.
No matter the year.
Every single country is involved. For example, I believe like if you win, for example, a title in the NBA, you're labeled as a world champion, right? But that's only U.S. based, I don't know how many people, say in other countries, Colombia, are really tuning in. This is a world event, and like my roommate, for example, he's Colombian, he's traveling to Russia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was in a few days.
Why does it start already?
In a couple weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this is a huge event. All the countries participate. These are some of the top athletes from the best clubs in Europe, the best clubs all over the world. This is huge. As far as like who I think it's going to win,
well, let me just ask you: are you very much looking forward to? Like, are you going to consume everything as much as you can? Of course, you have a job and everything.
For sure.
You're all in on this.
Yes,
you love
100%.
it. Favorite sporting event?
By far.
Yeah.
Favorite sporting event is the World Cup. In fact, the funnest times are around the World Cup because everyone's just in a good time. You get together with, you go to a Colombian restaurant, you get together with 50 Colombians, and it's just a good time, and that's how everybody does. Just the qualifiers, I was going to certain soccer bars, and for example, when Peru played Colombia, I was in Williamsburg in a bar, and there's tons of Peruvians, and just the atmosphere is fun.
Who do you root for?
Obviously Colombia.
Yeah.
I think we have actually a really well-rounded squad. I think our attack with Falcao and James, Muriel, Baca, it's always been good. Our defense was what lacking. The last World Cup we had Jepes, a very old guy playing. He still did well, but we had a lot of old guys that were in their final stages. Now we have a lot of new guys in the back that are killing it, internationally, overseas. So I think Colombia's got a good shot, the best shot they've had probably in years. But it's still, there's some really good teams out there.
Who's in their group?
Right now is Senegal, Japan, and Poland, which is a very tough group.
Probably them and Poland are the favorites.
Yeah,
right?
but Japan is always giving it issues. Senegal has some pretty good...
Scrappy.
Yeah, it's some pretty good guys that play in the Premier League. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tough for Colombia, but I think at least they'll pass the group stages. As far
Who's the favorite?
Who's the favorite? There's so many. I mean, France right now...
Do you know who actually is the betting favorite?
I don't know exactly, but it has to be between like France, Spain, Argentina. You can throw Brazil in there as well.
Germany?
Germany has a pretty good squad. Belgium has a pretty good squad. Oh yeah, USA, right along with Italy and the Netherlands.
That's
who
crazy.
Didn't make it either.
Ireland too didn't make it, right? I believe.
Yeah,
not considered as big of an upset, but yeah. Can't believe Italy's not in it.
It's insane. And the Netherlands, like Italy had a pretty stacked team. Yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. I think it's the first time they don't make it to a World Cup.
Ever?
I don't know if ever, but definitely like within my life.
It's a bummer though, because you want to see those big countries,
you do.
right?
Yeah.
It just feels bigger.
It's they had to get in those points, They had to get those threes, and they didn't.
Just once in my lifetime, I want to see Canada make the World Cup. Yeah. They did, I think in maybe '88 or so. Maybe it was '88, '84, but I wasn't aware. So I've always adopted England as my team because of the Commonwealth. I always felt like it's the closest thing to Canada, maybe USA, but we have the rivalry. But I don't think that England is very good.
Yeah, not at this point. Historically, they've been good.
Yeah, but not this particular.
And they have some good players right now, but they're not in the best form. But yeah, now you got Egypt in there, who hasn't made it in. I think they've never made it the World Cup, and Mo Salah is leading that pack, which is very exciting as well. I'm rooting for Colombia, obviously. Right after, I'm rooting for Egypt.
Egypt's your number 2?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Why?
Mo Salah, dude.
That's just your...
He's been killing it
He's playing for Real?
No, he's playing for Liverpool.
Oh, Liverpool, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, he's taking Liverpool to the Champions League final.
Crazy.
This is big. But I also, part of me, I'm an Atletico fan. Messi plays in Barcelona. Yeah, thank you. We won the Europa League. And, I have so much respect for Messi. I think he's the best player in the world. And I think this might probably be his last World Cup, and he's never won one. So
how old is he?
He's in his 30s.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think if he were to win a World Cup, obviously this is his chance. In the next 4 years, I don't know if he'd still be in there.
Favorite World Cup memory?
Favorite World Cup memory? Last year, last World Cup when Colombia got that far and we got eliminated by Brazil. Although that was like it was very controversial because we scored a goal, but they didn't count it. They canceled it. That was although it wasn't a very positive memory. That was it was a good. It was big. It was the Colombia had gotten really far. James was killing it. It was a good moment for Colombian soccer.
1994 World Cup. I attended Nigeria versus Argentina.
It was here in the U.S.
Yep,
right?
Foxborough Stadium, just outside of Boston. Ended up being Maradona's last World Cup match.
That's
super cool.
Historic,
yeah, very cool. 1994 was awesome. Maybe it'll come back.
I was 2 years old.
Jesus, that is nuts. All right, let's move along to our next one. Is there an expected timeline for Robbie Lawler's return? Also, do you believe Covington is the reason Lawler left ATT? I was actually just talking about Robbie Lawler a couple days ago, so I thought I would provide the update. It's probably going to be around January. He has a torn ACL, recovering nicely, but he's going to be out for the year. And I don't think that Colby Covington had anything to do with his departure.
ATT first of all, there's so many ATTs around the U.S., and even the main one, there's so many coaches within that it almost feels sometimes there's like smaller camps even within that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think Colby Covington had any.
No, but I'm told he is very eager to come back. He's very excited to come back. He just has to, ACLs typically are around a year, so he needs a little more time.
Paul Daly, Robbie Lawler.
That would be fun. That would be fun. We'll see what happens with Paul Daly. They are meeting in London around the time of Bellator 200. They being Bellator Brass and Paul Daly to try to get on the same page, so we'll see what happens. All right, I think this is the last one. What else do we have? What is one story/topic outside of MMA you wish you could report on? It can be in any medium, i.e. print, radio, news story, documentary. And oh, by the way, at Ariel Hawani, are you excited to see MJ repeatedly posterize Ewing in the ESPN/Netflix doc series? So that's the 30 for 30 that was just announced, The Last Stand. I don't know how much Ewing and the Knicks will be a part of that, so I'm happy about that. In fact, my good friend Jason Hare is directing that, the guy who directed the Andre the Giant documentary. He was in studio on the MMA Hour recently, so I can't wait for that next June. So, thank you for your concern. But how about the first part of the question? Is there any story that you wish you could report on, past or present?
Topic. Right?
Yeah, topic, story, whatever the case may be.
I really like technology and just the video games world. I'm big on video games. I would say soccer, but I actually don't want to report on it because I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
And I feel like once you start reporting, you obviously have to, lose some sort of fandom. Like I'm obviously a huge fan of MMA. I love it. But, being a professional journalist, you do have to sort of give up on, I guess, some fan rights, You can't root for fighters, etc.
Right.
So I don't know if I would want to do that for soccer, but I think covering video games is really interesting and really cool.
Like esports?
And it's like
that type of thing?
Not necessarily sports, just,
or the business.
Just the business in general. And obviously esports is part of it, but that industry is huge. And I think it's just fun. Like, there's a lot of fun things.
Are you a fan of like the League of Legends and all that stuff? Like, do you watch the?
No, never.
Okay. You just like to play.
Yeah.
Fortnite, things like
Fortnite,
that.
That's
Have we talked about Fortnite?
A little bit. Yeah, I tried to explain to you guys a few months.
Yeah. That's right. Did you see that thing of the person who was dancing and they said it was like Connor?
I did, yeah, but that wasn't Connor.
You don't think it was?
No,
I think it was a hybrid of him, like
maybe they get a lot of like popular moves that we see today in like pop culture. But I don't think that was specifically Connor.
I get what you're saying about soccer. I'd love to see what it's like covering the NBA. Just see what the relationship is like between the players and the media.
Well, I mean, I would like to dabble in it, but I don't know if
as a full time. Yeah, it'd be cool to cover the World Cup.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah,
I had the opportunity to cover the Olympics. That was cool. Like something that the world is watching.
Right, like it's got a
and there's a shelf life. It's not going to last forever. Right. It's just this.
There's a timetable.
Yeah. Sure. All right. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Who needs those other guys?
Dead weight. Two-man crew over
Get out of here.
Yeah.
We don't need them. All right. Thank you to everyone who sent us questions. Appreciate it very much. We'll be back next week to talk about Lord knows what else in the world of MMA.
Our Nick Diaz weekly question.
Yes, our weekly check-in on Nick Diaz. UFC is back this weekend, making their debut in Chile.
Chile.
Say it.
Chile.
Because people said I was saying it incorrectly when I said Chile.
Chile, it would be the American way. Chile. Yeah, Chile.
Santiago. I like just saying Santiago. Damian Maia, Kamaru Usman is the main event. That's a very intriguing main event. So that's this Saturday night on FS1 here in the United States. All right, we're out of time for our crew. For Luke, who's no longer here. For Danny, I'm Ariel. Again, thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the fights.